Anybody that hung out with my dad back in the day heard that there were a lot of stories back then.
When you leave? Tuesday, coming Tuesday. Next Tuesday. I get back a day before.
Good evening again. Would like to call the Monday, June 3rd. We're going to try this again. Like to call the Monday, June 3rd, City of Dalton Mayor and Council meeting to order. A quorum is present. Mr. Lama will lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have before us an agenda, and there will be an amendment to this agenda to include an executive session to discuss matters of real estate. Knowing that addition, which will fall as the last item on the agenda. So it would be item 9 will be executive session. Will fall after item 8. I'll ask for an approval of the agenda.
Move that we approve the agenda as amended with an executive session at the end. Second.
Have a motion and a second. If no discussion, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, at this time, we'll have public commentary. I have one. Jason, you want to come up? If you would please go to the microphone. I think it's that way we have it recorded for the record. And if you'll keep your comments to 3 minutes, please. I'm not going to cut you off in the middle of a thought, but we'll that would be helpful.
Be brief.
If you'll state your name and
My name is Jason Mazzaris. I am the head coach of Carpet Capital Aquatics Club. I know most of you. There are a few of you that I have not met yet. I used to coach Nikki. I am here representing the families of our club. As many of you know, we are basically without water and have been for a while. Over the last 3 years, our club has gone close to 6 months without water available, where we've had to travel to Chattanooga to swim. We've had to travel to Lafayette to swim. We are currently using the Elks Lodge, which is, at least we have water. It's not a facility that you can use for competitive swimming for very long, but at least we have some water to be in. Our program has a long history of success in the last 4 Olympic trials, and the one that's coming up in 2 weeks. We've had swimmers out of this community represent us. We've had over 28 individual state championships in the last decade and 2 team titles. We have put over 15 swimmers in collegiate swimming, and we have been ranked nationally several times. Not only that, I think that we benefit the youth of our community in much bigger ways than just our aquatic performances. And right now, again, we are without water. We've had several meetings, and with the project at Dalton High School getting delayed again, the project was supposed to be 3 to 4 weeks. It started a week early. Now it's a week behind the finish date of June 1st. Our membership is starting to get a little antsy. Rightfully so. We haven't, John Davis was closed last summer. It's going to be closed this summer. And I think we would just like to have an update on where we are with the John Davis Center. I know in the last meeting, there was a vote for the funds to be, or an approval of the funds. And where are we now?
So I would just, Jason, thank you for coming, and I see parents in the audience, so thank you all for being here. I was a Dolphin and then a Mako, so I was a Dolphin before there even were Makos, and Nikki being a former swimmer, I'm very grateful that we have swimming in our community, and we have it because of private club sport, and that's awesome. I do want to make sure that we have this opportunity to go on record and thank the Dalton Elks Lodge for making a
Absolutely, yes.
private pool available, because obviously they want to be supportive of the community. So we're very glad about that. Andrew can provide an update on where things are with John Davis Rec, and
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So at the last council meeting, kind of going beyond just approving the funds, the council actually awarded a construction contract to Felker Construction. And attached to that contract is a completion date of August 31st. They have to be substantially complete with the project, assuming there are no changes to the scope of work by August 31st. With regards to where things stand, demolition work actually started today. There were some remaining demolition items that needed to occur on the south side of the pool deck, in addition to some retaining walls. And so very pleased that that project's getting started. And if it stays on track and there are no changes in scope, should be done August 31st of next year.
Jason, I know that's a pretty brief update. I mean, there's not a lot that's changed since we last met.
Right.
But we acknowledge that it is a hardship on the swimming community and on the safety of our community when we have limited access to water, and cannot stress enough about what that does to safety. It's our understanding that Dalton High School's pool will become available again after June 7th. That's the most recent information we have.
That's the most current information that I have as well.
Right. So hopefully, that will actually happen this time.
Yeah.
So I know the Dalton Public School System wants to see the pool open, as we all do.
Yes.
And as we look to think about opportunities with the Elks Lodge and other private pools, because I know you all will have a closure again in the fall, where you're going to be 6-ish weeks.
7 to 8 weeks is
Okay.
the beginning August 2nd, right after swimming lessons end. So that'll put us until the end of September. Which again, I mean, that just adds, I mean, if we're thinking about the competitive swimmers that are coming up, 2 months out of your progression, if you're a young swimmer who has a target of trying to swim in college, 6 months in a 4-year period is a significant amount of time to be missing water.
And Jason, I'm still waiting to hear back from the country club.
Yes, and I do really appreciate you all stepping in and helping with the Elks Lodge and the country club. I do really appreciate that help.
For certain. And as we had pledged in our meeting to give you guys an update in several weeks, and we're going to hold to that. So we
Great.
look forward to following up. Sorry, we can't offer something that's a little more encouraging, but we appreciate the parents being so dedicated to making sure your swimmers are getting in water. And if it means driving, distance to do that, you're making that happen. So we appreciate, and we do recognize the sacrifices that you guys are making.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, if I
I want to chime in here if I can. I'm Steve Farrow. Jason, I don't know that we've ever met. I certainly know of you and what you're doing there. Like Nikki, like the mayor, I was a swimmer. I was a Dolphin back in the day. My brother and sister were also in the program throughout our childhood. My dad was president of the parents organization, and actually, when he was president, they facilitated joining the Chattanooga Swim League. Believe it or not, there was a time when we weren't in the Chattanooga Swim League. But, I just apologize on behalf of the city. To me, I know there were delays that shouldn't have happened. And that's ultimately the buck stops with us. I apologize for that. It's a community tragedy, not only for the swim team, but for kids that need to learn how to swim and for kids that need something to do during the summer while their parents are working, rather than sitting at home doing who knows what. But again, I just want to personally apologize as one of the members of the council. The delays shouldn't have happened, but hopefully we're on the right track at this point as far as getting the job done.
That's correct. I wanted to offer, Caitlin Sharp, our director, is not here this evening because she's actually transporting kids back from swim lessons in Calhoun. So the department is offering 4 rounds of swim lessons this summer. Hopefully the second one will be back at Dalton High, assuming that the filter is installed. But we do actually started today, I think, or maybe, I think it was today. With lessons in Calhoun for this go around. So we appreciate their partnership with the city in our time of need.
Any other comments? Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
And thanks to the parents and swimmers that are here. Appreciate you being here. Is there any more public commentary? There are none. Next, we have any department head reports, updates?
None this evening.
Okay. We have a proclamation this evening. Municipal Court Clerks Week is June 10th through the 14th. Jason James and Misty Wimpy, if you'll join down front. Councilmember Farrow, that is your liaison, is going to do this proclamation. We're going to do this together. So we'll come down there and get this to you guys. Back to someone else. So for Municipal Court Clerks Week, whereas municipal court clerks play a significant role in ensuring that municipal courts preserve public safety and promote quality of life in the city of Dalton and local municipalities across the state. And whereas the procedures for the Dalton Municipal Court operations are set forth by the Uniform Rules of Municipal Court and other laws of the state of Georgia. And whereas more people come in contact with municipal court clerks than all other city services combined, and public impression of the Georgia judicial system is largely dependent upon the public's experience in municipal court. And whereas municipal court clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. And whereas the Dalton Municipal Court is committed to the notion that our legal system is based on the principle that an independent, fair, and competent judiciary will interpret and apply the laws that govern us. Municipal court clerks act in a manner that promotes public confidence in the integrity and impartiality of the judiciary. And whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments and significant role the municipal court clerks play in preserving the public confidence, integrity, and impartiality of the judiciary. Now therefore be it resolved, I, Annalise Sams, Mayor of the City of Dalton, do hereby proclaim the week of June 10th through the 14th, 2024 as Municipal Court Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to Misty Wimpy, our Chief Clerk, and all municipal court clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent and serve. Thanks, Misty. Judge, let me get one with the judge. Judge, our communications director, Bruce Frazier, I think is on vacation. If you'll send that picture to Andrew Parker, we'll get it on the website, okay? Okay, thanks. Okay, before you, council members, we have the minutes of the May 20th, 2024 city council meeting. I'll ask for an approval or any amendments to it.
Motion to approve the minutes. Second.
Have a motion and a second. If no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unfinished business. The second reading ordinance 24-14 to amend Chapter 2 of the 2001 Revised Code of the City of Dalton, Georgia, captioned Administration to provide an effective date, to provide for the repeal of conflicting ordinances, to provide for severability and for other purposes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and certainly Mr. Bledsoe, if you have anything to add. This was first read at the last council meeting. There have been no changes to that first reading. And again, the basis for updating Chapter 2, it's the first code section in City Code of Ordinances. And throughout the year, we're going to be taking a look at each code section now that the governor has signed the new charter into law. And the bullet points address all of the updates in the code section. And again, there are no changes since the last meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. If no discussion, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Under new business, memorandum of understanding between Limestone Valley Resource Conservation and Development Council for the Urban Garden Project.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As I said, Ms. Sharp could not be here this evening, but this is a grant that the city applied for through the Parks and Rec Department with U.S. Department of Agriculture. They made available some funds for urban gardens in municipal jurisdictions, and I'm pleased to announce the city was awarded $150,000 to construct an urban garden adjacent to the drainage ditch along Trammell Street. This site is unique because, first of all, the city owns it. Second of all, it's in close proximity to Westwood School, the Arts Guild, the high school. And we were able to make a case with the Department of Agriculture that various outreach efforts could be undertaken throughout the year through a gardening coordinator. And the USDA saw fit in that, so they awarded the funds. There were $45,000 awarded for supplies to construct the raised beds. These beds will be similar to what you see on the screen in the top right corner. Some will be at ground level, some will be at an ADA accessible level, and there will be various spots that will be gardened by neighbors, students at the school, as well as folks within the community. There are some retirement age apartments just across the street, so hopefully they can make good use of it as well. And then there was $103,000 that was granted for the salary to cover an outreach coordinator for the gardens for 2 years. So that will provide funding for this for 2 years. And then the MOU that's actually before you is not with USDA. It's with Limestone Valley Resource Conservation and Development Council. They're based in Northwest Georgia, and they help communities just like ours secure grants like these. With it being a federal grant, there's a lot of regulatory compliance, reporting, project closeout that, again, it's not something the city does on a day in and day out basis. So we want to partner with somebody like Limestone Valley to help us manage the project, and their fee is 13.25% of the grant award. And they were actually who brought the grant idea to us for consideration. So we've been very appreciative to Limestone Valley.
Anybody have any questions? If not, I'll ask for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
The motion and a second. No discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 6, Arcadis Professional Services Task Order number 12 for West Hill Columbarium Site Design and Expansion Master Plan. Chad?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This agenda request is for the execution of the Columbarium Site Design and Cemetery Master Plan Professional Services Agreement with the engineering consultant Arcadis. This proposal provides engineering and design support for the West Hill Cemetery Columbarium Design and Master Plan. The Columbarium design will provide a complete construction plan set, and the master plan shall encompass engineering and architectural services to illustrate the expansion of the cemetery's current road network and plot layout. Should this proposal be awarded, the cost is $163,771, and the work shall be completed with 160 calendar days from the notice to proceed. Andrew, if you will, I believe got another slide there for members of the crowd who haven't seen this. So these are some renderings that we've kind of proposed to the consultant to somewhat mimic, while we're not set in stone as described earlier, not set in stone with these visuals, but this is kind of the direction in which we have steered the consultants to go with as it relates to the Columbarium site. And with that, I'll take any questions.
I do have, and want to mention that this comes with a favorable recommendation from your. Public
Yes,
Works
this does
Committee,
come with the
Councilmember Long.
positive
Goodland.
recommendation from the Public Works Committee.
Okay. I wanted to ask, is this already in your budget, this, or do you have?
We
to-
do not currently have funds allocated for this, so it'll come out of the general fund amendment.
And if I could add to that, the city recently received some extra LMIG funding that was approved by the General Assembly, and it was for $500,000. So that $500,000 will go back into the general fund, and we're proposing to use a portion of that to fund the design of this project.
Madam Mayor, I know we talked about it in the work session, but just for the benefit, I think of the people who weren't here, it's my understanding that now what percent of people are using regular burial plots for?
West Hill, we're seeing 85% of your typical burials, roughly 15% cremations. What funeral homes are seeing is approximately 35 to 40% being cremations.
So the 15% right now are having to buy a regular plot, a lot of which is not being used to put their cremains in the plots.
That's correct, yes.
And then I think you also mentioned in the work session that right now, projecting out with the burial plots we presently have, we've got about 7 years.
Yes, sir. We've got
Thank you.
roughly 7 years worth of inventory. And obviously with the Columbarium site, it would reduce the overall footprint of crematory
Not only
burials.
meet a need for people that get cremated, but also it would use a lot less space
That's correct,
than
yes.
and that still leaves us some other space, obviously, for future development as well.
Correct.
This may not be a question that you can answer at this time, but it would be interested to know. It's our local policy that we allow 2 cremations in 1 burial plot presently, correct?
That's
So if
correct.
a person buys 1 burial plot that would be for, one person, you could put 2 cremations there.
That's
Are
correct.
any other places amending that to allow for more? And what I'm thinking of is not in place of doing this, but in addition to families that have plots, can they be allowed to do more than 2?
I'm not sure if that's standard practice elsewhere or not. Something we can definitely look at, but
I would echo the mayor because I know, my parents are on a plot, I guess, on 1 plot, but it takes up very little part of the plot. But that means that plot can't be used for any other,
that's correct.
and I think it could aesthetically be done. Mayor, I think we ought to look at that.
Yeah, I mean, people can do the flat.
A lot of families could,
stone and add a lot of you could add a lot if you did the, flat stones. Maybe we could find out about that. That would be Not in place of this, just in addition.
Right.
to.
Exactly.
Anything else? Anyone? If no further questions, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion to have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, motion and a second. If no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, Mr. Belk. Yes, sir.
The project initially, it was gonna be signed, the different scriptures.
If I could just add, yes, so with all that would be coordinated through the cemetery sexton. At this stage, we're obviously not ready to sell any spaces, but when the time comes and the design is complete and it's constructed, all of that would be coordinated through the cemetery sexton.
We certainly would welcome, Mr. Belk, for you to attend a Public Works meeting to discuss what you feel your church, your congregation's needs might be, so that we could just be aware, and we would offer that to other congregations also, so that we have a better awareness of what the ask is of the community. Nothing in the world wrong with having more information, and input's always helpful.
This is fulfilling a great need, because when the ownership of a church changes and the Columbarians are all located on that site, it creates chaos.
Yes, sir.
This would be the city on an ongoing entity. It's gonna solve a great deal of problems. And we don't have churches that go in one place and stay there. We're closing a lot of churches in those cemeteries going disrepair when you do.
Right.
So thank you for doing this. Thank you for great time you're doing and solving a great problem. And plus, land efficient.
Yes, sir.
Columbarian sites you can put in there, it blows your mind about how efficient it is.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Belk. Item number 7, the first reading of ordinance 24-15, the request of Maria Amaya to rezone from medium-density, single-family residential R3 to neighborhood commercial C1, a tract of land totaling 0.17 acres located at 900 Riverbend Road. Jean, hey.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm standing in for Ethan Calhoun again. This piece of property is located at the southwest intersection of Doris Street and Riverbend Road. Ms. Amaya also owns the property directly to the south. She has a restaurant there that's been there for about a couple of years. It's been very successful, and she wants to expand onto this property that she's requesting to have rezoned now. There's an existing structure on the property that she's requesting to have rezoned. We haven't seen any plans yet, but it's my understanding from her that she's going to demolish that structure, add to the parking and to the seating of her existing restaurant. It received a favorable recommendation, unanimous favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Again, Mayor and Council, this is simply a first reading. We'll take this up at the next June council meeting.
Are there any questions for Jean? Next item, we have item number 8, first reading ordinance 24-16, the request of Jason Goldberg to rezone from heavy manufacturing M2 to rural residential R5, a tract of land totaling 0.15 acres located at 1127 Riverbend Drive.
This is a very small lot zoned heavy manufacturing currently, but this road has the vast majority of the parcels on this road are single-family units. There's an industrial complex at the very end, on the eastern end of the road. There's a commercial building at the beginning of the road, but the rest of the lots are occupied by single-family residences. And that is what Mr. Goldberg plans to do on this small lot. It was also received a favorable recommendation unanimously from the Planning Commission. It's way too small to do any kind of manufacturing operation, but it would be ideal for a small single-family residential house.
And R5 will restrict him to one.
Yes,
single
the
family.
difference between, you can see that there's an R3
Yeah.
lot on the south side of Riverbend Drive. the difference between R3 and R5 is R5 doesn't have a house size minimum other than what the building codes require. R3 requires 1,000 square feet of heated space, and this lot is fairly small. So that's why he requested R5, so that he wouldn't be limited to the 1,000 square feet of heated space.
Excuse me, this was under the unified zone. Is that why it's commercial? Because a lot of houses are still.
You know, when we adopted unified zoning, we kind of just absorbed all of the zoning that the city of Dalton had at that time, and this whole area
Okay.
was zoned heavy manufacturing.
Can he?
Back in the day, you could have something.
That's right. Back in the day, we had pyramid zoning. It was ideal to have heavy manufacturing because you could do whatever you wanted
Whatever
to,
you
but,
want. Yeah, as long as it was
right.
any kind of residential.
That's right.
Yeah, because
Is there going to be enough space because you're not going to be able to park on Riverbend? Well, that's Riverbend Drive, so that's different. Does he have the lot will accommodate?
Yes, ma'am. He would
Okay.
have enough for a small house. Yes, ma'am.
One more question, and this may be Andrew or Chad. Is this street kind of like how New Doris was, like a small street, have to use somebody's driveway to turn around or anything? Is this one of those streets we probably have to fix coming down the?
I cannot recall right offhand if there's a turnaround at the end of the street, but we can certainly check on that. And
You'd have to go into the manufacturing facility to do a,
So it's almost like that, okay.
you can actually see north of Riverbend where we went in and did the half cul-de-sac a few years ago. It's on the screen there, that little teardrop into the yellow lot. So perhaps there's an opportunity to do that here if there's enough land available.
and Mr. Goldberg, the applicant, also owns that manufacturing facility at the end, so that might be a possibility.
Okay. Any other questions? for
could we
Jamie?
make that a condition of it?
Would certainly, public safety could consider that and Public Works for servicing the area. They could make it a part of their recommendation when this comes to them.
I think so. On the New Door Street, the property owner conveyed right of way to us and we constructed the cul-de-sac. So I think a similar ask could be made a condition upon the rezoning for this as well.
Possibly do that the next 2 weeks before we do the second reading.
I think we, in the next 2 weeks, we can study it, kind of draw it out and then make it a condition that they would grant the public right of way, conditioned upon the when you approve it, you condition it subject to the dedication of right of way, which would occur, we'll get a title exam and a survey and everything. That'll take 2 or 3 weeks and do that after the approval.
Questions, comments? Thank you. At this time, we will, I'll ask for a motion to go into executive session. I would like to mention that when we come back down, there will be no more business before this council, before we adjourn.
The purpose of this to discuss real estate.
Yes, sir.
I would make a motion. We go into executive session to discuss real estate matter.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Thank you.
I guess we'll stay here. Second floor.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, I have a motion to adjourn the council meeting.
So moved.
A motion, all in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.